yet. But it is the 5th of May. So we're going to start with, we have Travis Bost and Anthony D'Orazio. Am I saying?
Razio.
Yeah, there we go.
Durazio. Yep.
D'Orazio. You're both running for at large, I believe. Correct? Yes. And we're gonna let them introduce themselves first. Travis, you can go first, and then afterwards ask whatever questions you want. Just raise your hand as always, and try not to violate the NAP. That'd be great.
All right, how's my audio at this point?
We can hear you fine.
Awesome. I'm just going to give out some of my activities right now. I am the vice chair of the Libertarian Party of West Virginia, regular monthly donor. I ran for Board of Education in Berkeley County in 2022. I was a delegate and am a delegate to the 2022 and 2024 national conventions. I am a regular I'm just putting these things out because people like to know them, not necessarily qualifications. I volunteered setting up and running meet and greets for our governor candidate and other candidates here in the state. Erica will be with us in DC, and we'll have a table if you want to stop by and say hello, and she will be a delegate. Also manning our annual Bridge Day booth, which saw over 100,000 people, foot traffic go by, and potential Liberty lovers as far away as New Zealand stop by to talk to us. I'm also a national life member, regular monthly donor, and frequent donor to fundraisers and ballot access and other events. I am a sponsor of the Enemies of the State Bash. It'll be next Friday night. I imagine Daniel will speak to that. I was a volunteer and organizer for the Rage Against the War Machine rally in DC last year. I regularly phone bank for issue coalitions and nullification efforts such as Defend the Guard in multiple states. I was on a ballot access ad hoc committee for Tennessee through national in 2023. So I've been supporting ballot access in that capacity, and I've been doing regular membership renewal calls. Things that are important to me, ballot access, running a national candidate that can articulate the platform and educate the populace, national issue coalitions, nullification efforts, encouraging decentralization by providing support to local candidates where the impact is the highest and the success rate is the highest, and along with higher level races, continue to support those for ballot access purposes. All right, did all of that come through?
Yes. Anthony, you're up.
Awesome. Let's see.
Right.
There was something else I was thinking in my head, but it'll come back to me later.
Okay.
Oh, I do. If you've met me or talked to me online or elsewhere, you know that I am a very polite person, or try to be. I haven't been known to name call or cause drama. I've laughed and chuckled at some drama, but that's about as dramatic as I get.
Yeah. One thing, there's Travis Bost and then there's Trevor Best.
Yeah, they are two separate people.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yes, I'm up. Hi, I'm Tony D'Orazio. You can call me Tony. I know it says Anthony in my on the screen, but please, everybody calls me Tony. It's fine. I am running for LNC at large. This is my second for LNC at large. You might recall I ran for chair in 2022 as well. I have been a past state chair. I was state chair of the Libertarian Party of New York. I was past vice chair of the Libertarian Party of New York, communications director for Libertarian Party of New York, campaign coordinator and campaign director for the Libertarian Party of New York when we had ballot access, before Governor Cuomo decided that he wanted to gut that. I've also been a member of the LNC IS committee on the national level. I've been active. I was active in my local party in Monroe County, which is the Rochester area of New York, for the past year and a half or so. You might notice it doesn't say NY after my name anymore. It says PA. I currently live in Clearfield County, PA. Carwinsville, if you're familiar. I intend to run for public office here in Clearfield County in 2025. You're hearing it here first. I haven't even told my fiance that yet, so she might be having kittens here in a few minutes. And that's going to be regardless of what happens with this election, whether I win it, whether I am a member of the LNC or not. I have twice run for public office, once for Congress in 2016 and once for town justice in my town in New York in 2018. I think it's really important that we run candidates for public office as much as we can. Everywhere we can win those races. We've shown that we can win those races. We're winning them in Pennsylvania, where we were winning them in New York when we had ballot access. We're winning those races everywhere, and that is the best way for us to get our message out. This position on the LNC, speaking specifically to that, the role of the at-large is to represent the entire national membership of the party, not one state, not one region, the entire nation. I've lived a few places. Clearly, I live in Pennsylvania now. I lived in New York. I grew up in New England. I've also lived in North Carolina and, believe it or not, Canada for a little while. Don't hate me. It was Alberta, so that's the most at-large members need to take that broader view and have that broader view. I know, Travis. It's shocking that I would admit to having lived in Canada. The at-large members are meant to take a broader view in governing, and it's that governance piece that really rings close to me. We need to, as LNC members, as leaders in the party, promote and uphold the principles and philosophy of libertarianism on a very broad level. We need to, as a national organization, promote ballot access through local efforts and through putting a credible presidential and vice presidential candidate in front of the electorate in as many states as possible. Hopefully that's 50 state access plus territories. I really am hoping for that. I'm crossing my fingers on New York, but the rest of them are starting to look really good. Beyond that, I've been a calming and unifying voice. I ended discord in New York that had been brewing for years. If you've interacted with me online, you see I don't usually engage or get down into the trenches into it. And I'm not going to say that I'm perfect on that, but I'm somebody who has worked with everybody and will continue to work with everybody no matter what happens in this election. And I look forward to your questions.
Awesome. I know Travis has another meeting at 8, so I want to get anyone that has questions for Travis out of the way potentially first, just because I know he's on several committees and he's got to run to another committee meeting. So does anyone have questions for Travis? Jay, go ahead. You're muted, Jay.
Yeah, I'm muted. Sorry about that. Hello, Travis. You and I first spoke a few months ago when you were kind enough to let me back into the LNC or the Libertarian Party email.
Discord.
You remember that?
Yes.
I hope I haven't disappointed you, but because now the only reason I'm getting involved is because I'm from Michigan. Listen, I've been a lifelong libertarian, longer than a lot of people have been alive in this party. But I've always kind of sat in the back, and I've been a donor, and I've run for office. But I support my local party, and I support my local affiliate. I'm District 2 rep, whatever. But you know my issue. My issue is, as a duly elected delegate from the only state convention we had in Michigan, are you going to support any efforts to disenfranchise us? Or are you going to supporting those who voted us in at our convention in March? This is everything to me. This is everything to Michigan. And How are you approaching the risks of the other states being disaffiliated or disenfranchised for their voting? What's your position on those things? I've got a dog barking at a fox. I have a fox den in my backyard. I'm going to put you on pause, on mute, because I have a fox den, and my little terrier is not going to stop barking. So
That's fine. As for credentialing, I know a lot of that's going to be based on what comes out of Michigan. So you got your JC decision coming up. So we'll have to take a look at that. So I haven't made a decision on that yet. If it's a matter of your bylaws don't support you being credentialed, the committee's going to vote on that. So we'll determine how that goes. If other states, I don't know if you're referring specifically to credentialing, that's just something that we're going to have to take on a case by case basis. I'm interested in. If you're trying to talk, you're muted, I guess.
oh no, hang on. God damn it! Hang on. No, I'm not muted, but I was not muted. But
I do want to make sure that we actually, I think the 8 o'clock thing is the bylaws town hall. That may be at 9 o'clock though. We are not bylaws, credentials committee town hall. We are going to try to be as transparent as possible and make sure we get things right. The other concern is on the other side. We don't want anyone from outside the party to be able to challenge the work that we've done and try to kick our candidates off the ballot. So we want to make sure everything is on the up and up and square and transparent.
well, in my opinion, there's been clear fuckery that's gone on with regard to the state, the Michigan delegates, with regard to the way the MC-dominated LEC is conspired with the MC-dominated JC to interpret things very narrowly in their direction. It's a bylaws thing and it's a Roner thing, and we all know how that works. Anything can be interpreted any way you want, and if you're the last one to make the decision, you win, whether you're right or wrong. So this is a huge issue. I mean, I'm spending my money, one of the 34 delegates who, incidentally, our party, our convention in March selected 33 delegates, not including our chair, who's an MC guy, 33 who were clearly not part of the MC cohort last time. This has been very, very hard for them to deal with, and so they're doing their best to use whatever method they can to eliminate us, because they don't want too many votes that may go against the sitting LNC. I don't hate the MC. I just don't like people acting the way they're acting, and many of them are doing it using their banner of the MC behind them. So I don't hate the MC. I'm a Mises Institute donor for years. One of my oldest friends works at Mises. I'm an old Ayn Rand guy. So, but I don't like the way this has become a personal issue. That it's become a power game, and people are doing their damnedest to get rid of as many delegates as they can to control the majority in the convention. So that's what a lot of people think. That's what I think. And there are a couple of ways to look at it. You can be very legalistic about it. Karen Ann is sticking her nose in places it doesn't belong.
I wanna stay on topic with questions just so we can get through them before 8, because I know some people are gonna pop off for that.
I spoke my mind.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I'll say this to that. I hear you. We want to get this right and not have any reason for any troubles further down the road. So we're gonna look at the bylaws, the national bylaws. We're gonna look at the information we've been provided and put out a good product at the end.
Does anyone else have a question for? We can go with either one, because I think a lot of people
We just want to be there to vote. Then I'm done. I just want to be able to vote. So now I'm done.
If I may respond to that very quickly as well. Yeah, I just want to very quickly say that I support the LP Michigan Libertarians who were chosen at their convention. I believe that the Michigan Libertarians have spoken, and I really don't believe that the National Party has any business poking their nose into affiliate decisions. That's all I got to say about that.
Well, you're unqualified. You're giving an unqualified answer, and I appreciate that. I mean, I think Trav's answer is maybe a little more qualified, which gives me some concern. But that's the only real issue I have. So, Thanks, man.
Travis, what, in your opinion, what has been done well in the last 2 years and what has not been done well at National in the last 2 years? You don't have to mention names.
Um, there has been, like I said earlier, I don't like to cause drama. I don't like to. I'm kind of people. I've had heated discussions with people, but they've always been polite and respectful. I like to see that happen in meetings. I like to see that happen on discussion lists. You won't see anything negative from me in that regards. I don't want to condemn anyone here because I can't judge anyone. So sometimes on let's say there's sides on both sides, everyone could do a better job of listening and understanding where the other person's coming from, not making accusations without any merit or without based solely on partisanship and not on what's actually happening. I think there's several instances where that's gone on, and on all parts in all circles. Things we've done well. We have certainly, like I said, I like issue coalition work. We have gotten ourselves into the anti-war conversation. I like that. Our messaging has become bolder. I know a lot of people like to talk about edgelording, but they always point at one affiliate. The National, no one's really showed me an edgelording thing from National. There's been a few posts long time in the past that were ill-advised, that were corrected or taken down. I think there is a role for national messaging. I think we can get better there. That we have volunteers that do that and members of the committee. It's been an accusation that Angela herself is tweeting everything, or some comedian is tweeting everything. But we have historians tweeting, we have volunteers tweeting, we have members of the staff putting out messaging. I think we've done a good job in that regard. I think we can do better. We can be bolder in some areas. We can be more measured in other areas. So issue coalitions. I think we have done fairly well with this convention, but it's too soon to say. There's more surprises potentially around the corner, so we'll have to see how this one goes. I was excited. One of the things, well, kind of get into details that I don't necessarily have all the answers to. Back in 2022, they got rid of a secret email list, or not secret email list, Susan might know more about this, but there were some steps at transparency that came out, but then we started doing a lot of stuff that we're calling confidential. So there's a discussions, but what we're doing well is we're announcing when those confidential discussions are taking place, so that we know, hey, this discussion is confidential because of these reasons. Let's see. So I don't know what goes on inside those conversations. There could be a way to improve that transparency, but I can't say right now. I just have to take the word of the committee as it stands.
Tony, do you want to touch on that as well?
I mostly agree with Travis on a lot of this, especially on issue coalitions. I think the one thing that the National Party has done well is their activism. People like to pick on the Russian flags behind Angela during the Rage Against the War Machine rally. You can't control everybody in your crowd, especially when you have a 360-degree crowd. I thought that was great. I think that the party has done really well in making itself a great voice in international and foreign policy, and an anti-war voice, and I applaud that. And I would not want to see that change.
We,
I want to say Tony said what I was trying to say, but much better.
Please.
and then do we have any other questions? I know Nick had a couple at one point. I don't know. If you have questions, just raise your hand and then I'll call on you. Go ahead, Nick, and then Alpha.
All right, yeah, I wanted to ask Tony a question here. So Tony, as you mentioned in this, you moved to Pennsylvania about a year and a half ago. I moved back home to Pennsylvania about a year and a half ago. Where you been? Like I saw you come to our convention, but like we need help here, and you've been active in New York, and I didn't even know you were in this state until I saw you show up at our convention. You know, how are we supposed to in Pennsylvania feel about someone who, you know, is in our state and hasn't been involved at all for a year and a half?
Nick, that's a fair question, and believe it or not, I have a fair answer. You know, I moved to Pennsylvania. A lot of them were for a lot of personal reasons, a lot of turmoil going on in my life, and I had to take some time for myself to get some of that taken care of. One thing I've been trying to do, especially over the last few months, and one of the reasons it was very important for me to go to go to the LPPA convention and make sure y'all knew that I was going to be there. Is I'm trying to get an affiliate party started in Clearfield County. We don't have one right now. A lot of the people locally who were involved just stopped being involved in the party, and I'm reaching out personally to a lot of them. So I haven't done as much as I should have in the last year or so. But believe you when I say this, no matter what happens in this LNC election, you're going to be sick of seeing my face by the end of this year.
Fair enough.
Alpha, you're up.
Yeah, so Tony, you are aware that we have an affiliate support committee?
I am now. I wasn't when I first started this, and you guys are going to be hearing from me within the next week or so, actually.
Yeah, so kind of to mirror what Nick was saying, I mean, I would be you know, hesitant to you know, vote for you thinking that you'd represent Pennsylvania because you've only been, you know, in the state here for a short time, and we really haven't seen much of you. We really haven't had like a whole lot of interaction with you to get to know you, kind of understand, you know, what kind of temperament you have, like what kind of decisions you might be making on, you know, out there. So I don't know. I guess you know, I would kind of mirror what Nick was saying, and I guess I've got a little hesitancy there if you'd like to speak to that.
I appreciate that. One of the reasons that I didn't want to run for a regional position was exactly what you said. I don't think I've lived in this region long enough, but I have been a libertarian long enough to represent the party on a national level, which is why I'm running for an at-large position. I've been a voting libertarian since 1996 and an active libertarian since off and on since then, but really strongly from 2014. I was strong on the I was a member of the Austin Peterson campaign. If any of you have been around long enough to remember that, I know some of you certainly have. I agree with you. And had I been around longer, in this state longer, I probably would be running for the regional spot as opposed to an at-large spot. But because I haven't, that's why I chose the at-large position.
All righty, that's all I've got for now.
Nick, go ahead. And I had another one.
Yeah, sorry to hammer you, Tony. I've got questions. So what I'm interested in is, like you've mentioned, you ran for chair in Reno.
I did.
And did not come out on top on that. And if I remember right, failed to make the debate there. What is different in your platform this time that might encourage people, um, you know, to support you this time?
Well, that's a great question. You know, the chair and the at-large position are different. The chair is far more a driver of the business and messaging and tone of the party. So I'm not sitting here telling you I'm going to be the boss and I'm going to drive every bit of messaging. I'm sitting. I'm the thing that I think may have changed more in my platform is less what I'm dictating and more my me wanting to highlight my ability to work with people. I before the last election, one of the, one of the great things that came out of all that, you know, I wish I had been chair, but you know, the delegates made their choice, and that's fine. But what I got out of that was friends with the other a friendship and a kinship with the other people who are running for chair, including Angela McArdle. So I hope that I've proven over my history in the party, my ability to work with people by running for an at-large position as opposed to running as the guy who wants to, you know, lead the complete direction of the party. Hopefully hopefully the delegates will see.
You muted for a second towards the end. We missed the last little bit.
Oh, I said hopefully the delegates will see me as a better fit for the at-large position than they did for the chair. That's it. Nick, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, I don't have anything to follow up on that. I was just curious. Thanks.
Fair.
You have anyone from any state that wants to ask a question? I mean, we don't have to just have PA people ask questions. We had Michigan already ask one, and now Chris asked one as well.
If I may, real quick.
Yep.
I do want to echo what Tony was saying about the at-larges representing all members in all states and all regions. I do want to kind of lean into that. Like the vice chair represents the unrepresented regions, the at-larges represent everyone. I do want to be. I'm going to have an open email address, phone number. Well, see how long that lasts. So people can get a hold of me if they've got questions. If I can liaise to the committee or to the staff, however, or whatever committee I happen to be on that may affect members, and be, you know, make the LP pleasant.
So I have a question. So I am on national candidate support. So this question's for both of you. One of our points of contention with the current LNC is that we felt that a certain staff member that was hired and terminated hindered our committee. I will say her name, I don't care, Lainey Huston. We are still waiting as a committee for an email address. We are still waiting as a committee for help with implementing asynchronous learning. We also feel that as a committee that we have a budget. We should be allowed to vote to give candidates money. And then we just send the treasurer, hey, we have the money in our budget. Disperse the funds to this candidate. Currently, the structure is we recommend yes, and then the LNC votes on it, which could take up to 2 to 3 months. And when you have a candidate that may need money for a lawsuit or whatever, the time's of the essence. 2 to 3 months in a campaign can kill you waiting on money. For instance, there is an Erica Libertarian for Governor sign in the back. She was approved to get money from the committee, and then the LNC took 2 months to approve it. What would you do to change that? Either one can go first, whoever wants to take it.
I don't know. Obviously, I'm not on the committee. So you guys voted for something to happen and sent it to us. I would say if you don't hear back from us, reach out to me, and I'll, if it's a motion that's lacking, I can make the motion. I can look into if there's a reason, if there's a priority list that's out of whack, we can take a look at that. Because I understand these things, time is of the essence, especially with ballot challenges and signature drives, that sort of thing. But the main thing for me would be communication, two-way communication. If you're not hearing back from us, let me know.
Good, Tony.
Travis said almost everything I was going to say. And I will add that this isn't a new problem. This is something that has been endemic. It's been going on for at least 8 years. That I know of. We experienced slowness. So I think the only way we're going to be able to combat it is to have members who are willing to speak up, open their mouths, and push things through for you. And I, like Travis, offer my phone number and email addresses to help be your pitbull.
Perfect. Rob Latham, you're up. Rob, you're
I apologize for that delay. I had a dryer buzz. In fact, I'm going to shut it off right now. That was going to just overwhelm my sound. Really following up on that last discussion point. So what I'm hearing is that there's kind of a bottleneck problem by trying to route all decisions through national. And my sense is that because part of the decentralized agenda is to really push a lot of that back to the local level. And maybe it's a matter of, national folks, their focus is on fundraising, getting money, or steering that money to local candidates, where it can be needed, rather than have that money sit at the national organization and then, wait however long for it to get approved and dispersed. So maybe just both candidates, can they talk about how to relieve those bottlenecks, or how they maybe have done that in the past, how they might address that in the future? Thanks.
I guess it's my turn to go first. I can tell you that as chair in New York, we certainly had administrative bottlenecks. Much like national exists to serve the state affiliates, I felt that our state party existed to serve our county affiliates. And a lot of times we had bottlenecks, not necessarily so much in money, but also in getting bodies where they needed to be, especially during petitioning time. And one thing that I instituted in New York that really worked out was exactly what both Travis and I have offered up ourselves, and that's keeping the lines of communication open and making that bi-directional, staying as transparent as possible. I had regular town halls with our county affiliates. We invited our county affiliates and encouraged them to speak at our state committee meetings. We don't necessarily know on that higher level, just by osmosis, what problems every affiliate is going to be experiencing. So it's really important to keep those lines of communication open and free flowing in both directions. And that's what I intend to do in this position, be as open and transparent as I possibly can with everything that we're doing, and making sure that I am a receptacle for anything that any state might happen to need from the LNC. Be your pitbull.
Yep. And to add on to that, with decentralization, there are skills that a national organization has, or abilities based on the fact that it's national. And there's things that the local affiliates can do because they're the local affiliate, and the things are directly under their purview. So working together, keeping the communication open. People are going to donate to national. They're going to donate to national for ballot access, for example. So they're going to donate to national for candidate support. There's committees. whatever bottleneck at that level, getting it back to the states or the affiliates so they can execute with that money that they've requested, or to the candidate. A lot of it's going to be personnel. I know some of the LNC candidates have just said they're going to hire a bunch of people to do things. Well, right now, hiring a bunch of people to do things isn't exactly what we can do. So making sure the people that we have and the people that we can hire or volunteer to relieve, if it's a matter of the LNC having their hands in too many places, you know, shift some of that burden around and delegate more responsibly. I like the word delegate. I'm from the military. But put people where they need to be, empower them to take the actions with the appropriate level of oversight to make sure everything is legal, because we still have the FEC and all that stuff. I'm gonna pause there.
So I have a question that has been asked of a couple of the candidates. Would do you support LNC and litigation involving the trademark of our name against affiliates that try to use our name without consent?
No.
I want to say it depends on the situation. We have a trademark, and as it's been stated by the committee, if you don't defend the trademark could cease to exist and become meaningless. So it would depend on the situation, on what exactly is going on. I know we did not sue or enter into legal, at least that I know of, in New Mexico. Now we have a Libertarian Party of New Mexico that is not a part of the Libertarian Party. The New Mexico affiliate is, in fact, called something else that no one would recognize. And we see in Michigan that there is a trademark lawsuit where lots of fingers and penumbras are going all over the place, and it's a big mess. So it depends. To me, it is something that needs to be defended, and in each instance, we need to take a look at the merits or cost benefit of each action. Lawfare to me is a last resort. I don't trust the legal system. So let's just put that out there. I don't trust the legal system. If there's any way to settle things outside of that, we need to do that.
And just to follow up, this question's from Brittany because she's at work, so she texted me. She wants to know if both of you will promise not to release classified emails, aka McCardle papers, and bash other representatives of the LNC on Twitter, aka not air our dirty laundry all over social media.
Yes. And let me qualify the yes. No, I'm not qualifying the yes. I'm saying yes. I don't like the leaks. I don't like airing dirty laundry. I don't like being mean, disrespectful to people. I like if it's a private, confidant situation, that should stay that way. Now, there's one thing if someone is being a whistleblower for something illegal or a NAP violation, something to that effect. But leaking people's private conversations is not whistleblowing to me. That is something else. That's not transparency. I agree. If you put it out there, someone's going to see it, but that doesn't mean that we need to make every attempt to publish it. And if you want to ask a clarifying question to clarify what I just said, because I got a little heated there.
No worries. I knew what you were saying. You know how Brittany feels about it. So.
I already don't.
Will,
Oh, go on, Travis. Finish.
yeah,
I'm
sorry, I
sorry.
will add on. So a member from my state was named in some of these, and his job was threatened. I'm not going to say the name, but you can probably figure it out. So that there is no need. That did not advance the interest of the party. It did not advance transparency. It just made people angrier at each other, in my opinion.
It's my belief that nobody is running for the LNC. None of our colleagues are here working our asses off for liberty just for the hell of it. There are certainly going to be issues we disagree on. There are going to be nuances that we disagree on. There are going to be choices that we make that we disagree on. We're libertarians. We argue all the time. And there's only one true one. He's right here. Sticking to those issues in our debates, especially in public, and not resorting to personal attacks, not resorting to, ooh, you said this in a private email thread. Ooh, you said this on the private Discord. That doesn't get us anywhere. Let's stick to the issues and be professional from a public standpoint. And let's not air our dirty laundry, please.
Does anyone, Rob, go ahead.
Since I saw no other hands, I'll ask another question. So, and I see my fellow Bylaws and Rules Committee member, Nick Sazelski, on this. And our committee unanimously passed a restructuring proposal, kind of continuing on the decentralization theme, wanting to get rid of regions and expand the at-large membership, so going from 5 to 7 members, and then elect those by a semi-proportional method called cumulative voting, with an eye toward making that what's called single transferable vote, or a more proportional style of voting. So it doesn't really matter if you live, if somebody across the country kind of agrees with you on the direction of the LNC, if you get enough members together. And with 7, you're talking maybe about 15% of the convention delegates to elect 1 seat. And we think that just kind of will help remove some bottlenecks, also take what a lot of us see as excessive influence by affiliate chairs. And I've been an affiliate chair for my Utah affiliate. So anyway, want to know what both candidates for at-large thought about the restructuring proposal. And even if you had any questions, we could have a bit of a dialogue here until we got to head to other meetings. I've got to bail out in a couple minutes here too.
So I am in favor of the increasing the number of at-larges, and well, let's just put it this way. I as an at-large member, I would not be voting on that. That would be up to the delegates to make the bylaws change. So get that out of the way. So this is just a matter of opinion. I would be in favor of having more at-larges, but also, as we already discussed, those at-larges would be even more responsible to being available to all the membership. I know the other thing that was proposed of 50 state chairs that kind of hire or select a board. That reminds me of the Senate, and I don't like the Senate. So I'd like to keep it simple, expand what works. And I know another issue was that once selected, it's hard to, if there's an issue with the state chair, not a state chair, if there's an issue with a regional representative, there's not much the LNC can do about that. And oftentimes the members in that region can't do much about it. But we can all elect delegates to national and throw the bombs out, as they say.
To be honest, I'm sorry, Travis, were you done? Am I jumping over you here?
I'm finished. I'm
okay.
Trying to make sure I'm not late to something.
No, I understand. I'm still kind of internally debating how I feel about the proposal. I'm generally opposed to it. I see some states not represented as well on the LNC if we have less people representing them. There might be permutations of that proposal, like maybe expanding the at-larges, large numbers from 7 to whatever that might be that threshold. I understand the concern. I understand some people want to contract the LNC. I get that. I can say that I have lived in a region where we actually recalled our LNC representative back in 2021, I believe it was, when Tucker Coburn was our representative, and he was recalled when the unpleasantness in New Hampshire, we'll call it that, happened. So the region agreements do have language to manage if you have a road representative on the LNC. But I really do think that when possible, having that more personal representation.
I know.
Yeah, that's what I was asking about.
Oh, okay. I was gonna get Chris. So we
Yeah.
have like 4 minutes before I think we have the town hall for credentials, and then I know
Yeah.
Free State Project has something with Montana, so I don't want to like distract from people joining those.
Yeah, that's what I was bringing up, though. I think the whole
That-
50 state chair plan, it seems like to me we ought to try something different, because I'm not sure if what we're doing is working all that well. It's you 50 state, then you hire what you might call the National Executive Committee, and that's like 7 people from the 50 state chairs or the 51 state chairs. I don't know. It seems like maybe having all these offices elected at large isn't the best idea. I mean, we force people to do national campaigns for a job that doesn't pay anything. I mean, that seems kind of crazy. Yeah, well, yeah. How you structure the party, I don't think is an easy issue either, Tony.
I think it is. If someone can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was Rob. The approved plan is the eliminate regionals, expand at larges, and the other plan is not anywhere on the list, or maybe it's a minority. Maybe you can correct me on that.
No, it didn't even make a minority report. I mean, we had a vote on, it was Ken Millman who proposed the 50 affiliate board. That failed on a 1-9 vote. So I've heard some rumors that we killed it. We never gave it a fair hearing. We discussed it for 40 minutes in one of our meetings. And we also, discussed it a lot offline, in our listserv that where we, compared notes and went back and forth over email. So I think we gave it a fair hearing, but 9 of us on the committee just, we like the restructuring plan, downsize a little bit, but also broaden the representation by making it more proportional, because people can have issues other than, where you live as their primary issue. And just, again, coming from a relatively smaller state, if a bunch of rural affiliates want to get together and elect an at-large member to focus on rural issues, great. This restructuring proposal allows us to do that. If you want to do urban issues, this proposal allows folks who want to focus on urban issues to do that, or ballot access, or fundraising. And frankly, that's something we haven't talked a lot about. Probably ought to save that for a future discussion, because where I see things we really need at large is kind of to focus on their efficacy at bringing in the money to fund our organization. So,
Rob?
Go ahead.
Yes, real quick on that, is the cumulative voting one, and the when it's implemented, whether it's implemented immediately or later, is that built in to the proposal?
So at our last meeting, we added a proviso that it will not go into effect until after this convention. So assuming it passes, it will not go into effect until the 2026 convention. So does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
But cumulative voting is still there. So some people were concerned, you know, we're moving too fast. So we came around to that and said, fine. I still, if the opportunity presents itself, let's strike while the iron's hot. I still say let's do it. But we decided to give people some time to adjust. So that's where the proposal that's in the report and will be presented to the delegate sits, is with a delay.
I don't know if anybody needs to jump off immediately. I did have a couple of final words.
Yeah, Travis, if you could too, could you potentially post the town hall link in the chat for the credentialing committee? If you have.
Yes. Copy. I hope this is it. Paste. Now that one is at 9 Eastern. So there is some time for that, but I do need to have somewhere else to be.
Yep.
But I know other people have meetings. I was going to say, it was asked earlier what we've done well. I know that they did implement the new. So after the city transfer that we all know too well, they have moved to the new system, which I haven't looked at, but they're trying to get that right, and I think they're working hard to do that. The trainings that we had and master classes, I think was a good thing. The I forget the name of it. The thing with the data. If someone can remember that.
The Zoho, right? That's what they're switching.
Not the Zoho. That's the Civi. The other the candidate tool.
Oh, voter gravity.
Voter gravity. I think voter gravity. It looks. I haven't looked at it. It looks good on paper. I've heard good things from people that have used it. So that would be on my things done well list. And I think a lot of the stuff the LNC's been doing has been from digging from a hole. Part of that is the turning a ship in a new direction, mass changeover, change in vision. So I think we're level or going up, but I think we need to keep plugging at what we've done well and keep those up and keep getting that ship in the right direction. And that's my closing answer.
Tony, do you have a closing statement?
Yeah, my name is Tony DeRazio. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. On Facebook, on LinkedIn, on any social media you can possibly find me. If my email address is _3@gmail.com right now, which I will put in the chat. If anybody wants my phone number, I'm happy to put that in the chat as well. And I'm happy to continue this conversation for the next couple of years.
Perfect. I want to let everyone know we do have upcoming town halls with Mark Rutherford and Stephen Nikela for LP chair. That's on the 17th. Mike Tremont is meeting with us on the 19th, and then Susan Hogarth for Region 5 rep is meeting with us on the 20th. And then Dr. Michael Rechtenwald is meeting with us on the 22nd. Just in time for convention. And then after that, we're all going to be in DC partying with Afro Man and booing Trump, I guess. And then all the chats, I have them where they are available offline. So when the recording stops and you go to the link, you should still be able to see the chat. It's continuous. So I will stop the recording now.